I don't know where you are in your life, but the other day I was asking, why is it that I have so fewer friends than I had when I was young? And what is it? Why is it so much more difficult to find friends as you get older? And so I went on a dive to look at this. And so today I'm going to talk about the power of friendship and how it can be a path to growth and fulfillment. You see, I'm very comfortable being by myself. I can be alone and be very happy doing stuff with Lee. However, I've also come to understand that friendships enhance our life experience and personal growth. And while they do that, they require choice and commitment. So I want to really dive deep into this to give you a framework of how I'm looking at this topic. There's 6 key elements for deep, meaningful friendships. The first one is intentionality. The second, authenticity. The third, flexibility. The fourth, proximity. The fifth, time together. And the sixth, energy exchange. I believe that all these 6 elements have to be there to have a meaningful friendship. And we're going to explore each of these in depth. So let's go first to intentionality. That means you intentionally choose, I call it your inner circle. You see, as we age, friendships don't just happen. Think about when you're young. My granddaughter Claire, she has a birthday party. She asks all her friends. Who are her friends? The kids she's in class with. If you're playing baseball, it's the kids you're playing baseball with. You're always surrounded by groups that have something in common. And because you're with groups, it happens by default. But as you age, about the only group you're going to be involved with is maybe work. And maybe if you're a part of a church, and that doesn't seem to be the case for many people. So friendships don't happen, by default. They have to be conscious. It has to be intentional. A friendship requires effort, including reaching out, checking in, and making time. So many times I hear people say, I'm not going to reach out to that person anymore until they reach out to me. And what happens? The friendship dies. I've been reaching out a lot lately because I'm choosing to have more friends in my life. And I realize if I want more friends, I'm going to take the action. You then have to ask yourself, who do I want to invest my energy in? And that requires a lot of thought, because the type of people you surround yourself with determines the type of person you become. So then you got to ask, okay, if I'm intentionally choosing my inner circle, in this inner circle, are these the people I want to invest my energy in? Then you go back even further and you ask, okay, who aligns with my values and growth? Who supports, who has a commonality in what I value most? Becoming more aware, teaching, personal health and well-being, deepening relationships. Who has those same values and who wants to grow? Because I don't want to stay stagnant. I don't want to just reminisce about the good old days. I want to create new days. Here's another thing about intentionally choosing your inner circle. A simple text, a call, or meeting keeps the connections alive. If you're not putting in that effort, the friendship doesn't exist. So let's go to authenticity. Authenticity I describe as the freedom to be yourself. To have true friendships, it equals no mask, no pretending. You're not trying to do things just to make the other person happy. No, you're going to be you. I'm going to be Lee. whenever I'm with you. There's a joking Lee, a serious Lee, a contemplative Lee, an expansive Lee, a curious Lee. There's all of these. And I've decided in my life, I am done pretending to be something I am not. I don't care if I'm in my role as a minister, as a role as a hypnotherapist, if I'm in my role as a friend, if I'm in my role as a spouse, if I'm in my role as a dad, if I'm in my role as a grandfather or friend. I am not putting on a mask and I am not pretending. I choose depth over superficial. I want to be real so I can attract real. I don't want 100 friends that are superficial. I want 3, 4, 5 that are deep and meaningful. Here's a question under authenticity. Whenever I'm with people, I ask the question, am I showing up as my true self? Because sometimes I don't, and I say, ooh, there's a pattern from the past. There's a habit I haven't broken completely yet. So I like to ask myself that question, am I showing up as my true self? Here's another one. Am I allowing my friends to do the same? Because if it is a true friendship, it can't just be you showing up as your true self. But if they're putting on a face, a false front, a mask, in order to be with you, it's one-sided. And a true friendship is what? Two-sided. I believe that the more authentic we are, the stronger the bond. Because if you're authentic and the other person's authentic and you're together, there's no judgment. If there's no judgment, man, that's a bond you want to maintain. Let's look at flexibility now. And for me, flexibility is understanding life seasons. Our lives change as a result of careers, families, and relocations. My God, I went from one career in Michigan to a career in Rhode Island to a career in Tampa to a career in Rhode Island to a career in Dallas to another career in Dallas to another career in Dallas to another career in Dallas. And every time, things changed. Also, my sons were little. They were playing sports, soccer. I had all those people from soccer. I had all those people from their schools. Family changed. Mom died, dad died, brother died. We moved away. You see, another thing about flexibility is it's not about keeping score. It's not about how many times did you call, how many times did I call. It's a matter of when we're together. Is it meaningful? Is it deep? Is it nourishing on both sides? You see, a true friend understands that life happens, but true connection remains. There are people that I don't see all that often, but I've invested a lot of time in my life. And I realize that we have to be flexible in understanding where people are in their lives. As a minister, I get that. People were coming for a while. All of a sudden, their kids got to a point. Their kids are doing all this stuff, taking up all their time. I don't see them for a while. Doesn't mean there's not a friendship there. Just means I have to be flexible. And I've come to the understanding it's okay to have gaps in communication. And you know what I mean here. You have a gap with someone, and then all of a sudden you reconnect, and it's like you've never been apart. Yeah, that's a friendship. You've never been apart. And the other thing is with flexibility, you got to learn to trust that the bond will endure. If it's a meaningful relationship, the bond will endure. If it's a superficial relationship, the bond will not endure. Proximity, the power of shared space. Technology keeps us connected, but in-person does matter. I know I'm keeping in touch with people all over the world through Zoom and through FaceTime and through WhatsApp. But in-person matters. There's something about in-person that's real important. But it doesn't mean you give up the people that are at a distance. is that you understand that you've got to create the event. A great lunch with someone. There's nothing better than a lunch with someone and meaningful conversation. The other thing is being physically present. It strengthens the relationship. I don't know about for you, but for me it does, to be able to see that eye contact, to be able to do things together, walking together, talking while you're walking, going to a game, going to a concert. It just strengthens things. The other thing about a friendship is spontaneous moments. Man, they equal some of the best experiences. But in order to have a spontaneous moment, you've got to be with the person. You can't be away from them. And here's the key thing. No one will understand that spontaneous moment like you and the person you're sharing it with. Those are the best. Spontaneity means it's growth. It's something new. It's expansive. It's not doing the same boring thing. You see, there are friends that we have that where distance separates us. And we've got to learn to bridge that gap. And we bridge it with visits, physical visits, video calls, voice messages, whatever it takes. Maybe even writing a good letter, a long text message. I'm not a big one on that. I'd rather do the talking. I'm an audio-visual type of guy. I'm not a writing type of guy. So if you're a writing type of person, we're not going to be the best of friends. It's just not going to happen. The next point, time together. Friendship needs time to grow. It needs shared experiences to deepen trust and connection. But when we're talking about time, understanding that time is our most valuable resource. It's the most important thing we've got. We're born and we're going to die, and what's in between is all we've got. You can't expand it. You can't contract it. It just is. So you ask the question, who in your life deserves more of your time? I can tell you this. My very, very, very best friend in the world is my wife, Jean. And Jean has been going through some health issues. You know what? I've invested as much time as necessary to be with her and support her because she deserves the time. She's my best friend. Then ask, who do I miss that I haven't made space for or time for? You know what I'm talking about. There are people in your life that you have a connection with and you miss them. Maybe you need to make time for them, to make space for them in your life. Maybe you need to figure out, I'm doing some things that aren't servicing me. If I stop doing them, would I have more time to spend with a true friend? You see, time doesn't just appear. You make time for what matters. You're a choice. In fact, you're always that choice. In a true friendship, there has to be an energy exchange. There has to be a balance of giving and receiving because friendship is a two-way street. Doesn't mean it's a two-way street every moment. At one time, one person may need more support than another time the other may, but it's always a two-way street. I would avoid friendships that feel one-sided and are draining. You ever have a vampire come up to you and suck all the energy out of you? There are people like that. That's not a friendship. I would highly recommend, too, that you surround yourself with people who energize and uplift you. And you energize and uplift them. Maybe not all the time, but most of the time. You want people who are moving forward in life. You don't want people going backward in life because you don't want to be going backward. Backward is death. Expansion is growth. Expansion is life. Expansion is love. Be with people who have high curiosities. Be with people who are adventurous and want to do more. And then celebrate your growth together, separately. Celebrate all the growth you have. And then reciprocate effort, reciprocate support. It's a back and forth thing. Be that friend to others, knowing that what you give, you will receive. It must be so. It's law. If you don't understand that, go back to last week's talk, the law of compensation. I went deep into that. You cannot give and not receive. It may come back differently, but the universe does not allow a void. And if you give something of yourself, something must come in and fill it. And that's true in friendship. So I've got some reflection questions I want to bring up and have you consider for yourself. The first one is, who are the friends that have shaped you up to this point? They may be in your life now, they may no longer be in your life, but who are they? And in light of that, what was it about those friendships that shaped you? What type of person was it? And maybe, are those friends still in your life? Or maybe that's a call you want to make, a reconnection. I don't know. Or are there qualities about that you want to consider as you look for new friends? Which friendships do you want to nurture more? You have friends in your life. Which friendships do you want to nurture more? Maybe which friendships are you giving too much attention to that are not nurturing you? But you know. Are you showing up with intentionality, authenticity, and reciprocity? That's a big thing when you show up. Or are you showing up needy? Are you showing up as a victim? That's not going to turn into a great friendship. It's going to turn into something very codependent, I would venture to guess. Show up intentionally, being present, being authentic, and be willing to allow, give, and take. Now's the time to go out and be that friend, to invest in meaningful relationships, deepen your connections, and choose friendships that enhance your life and growth. Everything in life that you experience, everything in your life that you do, you are the initiator. You are the one who determines where you invest your thoughts, your words, your actions, your feelings, your time. As you've matured, if you're listening to this, you're at least in your 20s. You don't have the same things going on when you were in school and that. So building a new friendship, it's work, but it's good work. And there are people out there that are looking for what you're looking for. You've just got to put yourself in a place to find them and be open to the possibility. So remember, you can only be as good a friend with someone else as you are with yourself. Goes back to what I base all my teachings on. Everything begins and ends with self-love. The more you love and accept yourself, the more you're able to love and accept someone else. And if you go back to the very beginning of this talk and you look at each of these points that we looked at together, and you would understand very quickly that being authentic is critical to self-love. Being intentional is critical to self-love. Being flexible is critical to self-love. Giving yourself, being with yourself is important to self-love. Time with yourself and the energy you give yourself and you put yourself in. So fall in love with yourself, become your own best friend, and now move out into the world and share that with people who are looking for someone just like you. It's a great day to be alive. And remember, you deserve it simply because you are. Much love.